I had to. Of course, I had to.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Hey,
First and foremost,
hey, how you
guys,
doing?
I apologize for the delay. We
No,
had to
listen,
deal with a lot of shit,
it happens. You
but
don't
we
have
made
like
it.
cops on like in tanks behind you, do you?
You know what? It's funny you bring that up, Nino. It's funny you bring that up.
Wait, what happened?
No, not this time. So, well, let me wait for my boys there. So
Hmm.
they're here too, so they don't miss out on anything. You guys almost here? Yeah, yeah. How's you guys' days been today?
It's mostly sitting back and eating popcorn as we wait for whatever false flag the marshals want to throw up.
That whole Michael Jackson gif with the popcorn, is that what's happening
Yep,
right now?
yep. I don't think
All
I.
right, all right. So I think that's like the main reason why I'm down here today. By
Mm,
the way, is because I seen some shit and I'm trying to figure out what type of message they're trying to send. Um, and I thought maybe you're the best person to talk to you about that.
I wish I could tell you. I can say that I've spent the majority of my time as mayor trying to ignite businesses, give people purpose where they have none, and that includes like felons that feel like they're trapped in a box and they have very few things left to do, right? By granting them the ability to have businesses and fixing some of the problems that we have. And the only thing that I have been met with consistently, and I've been rather quiet about it because I don't, when I hit hardships, right? Or, let's just say, I'm dealing with just stupid people at the top. I just try to solve them and keep those problems to myself. But what I have witnessed, I mean, I'll say it just flat out. I knew nothing about these tanks until this morning, or this afternoon, I should say. And over the last couple days, ever since what happened on Wednesday, like with the South Side igniting up,
Yeah, I heard bits and parts of it. Yeah, but I think it's like pretty much full on war down there, right, with the Saints and the PD.
it was for like I'd say a day and a half at most, and shortly thereafter there was an attempt with them attempting to communicate and be reasonable. And the only thing that I feel like I've been hearing from elements of the PD is, we don't care. We're just gonna keep farming. And it's I hit that moment of clarity this morning, after that conversation yesterday with them, where I'm like, I don't actually believe that there's much reason left by the bulk of the police department, at least the ones that make the decisions. So, and then seeing the shit with the tanks, I'm just asking myself, like, what is this for exactly? Like, there's no rocket launchers, they're fucking pistols. And so the only thing I think is, like, what day are we going to see something pop off, those tanks roll out, and then the entire population paying for it? So, you know,
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think it looked like it was a big reach, show of force for whatever reason. Where do the marshals stand as far as like authority in the city compared to like to you?
they're they control the police department. I've been forced and ordered to do things by them, and they run the DOJ. It's pretty
Ah,
much like, I don't. Did you see my tweet earlier?
yeah, I've been following. Yeah.
That kind of summarizes it. It's a usurping of power to the extent where everything you do is controlled by effectively the epitome of like of a very bootlicking mentality. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
it's them versus the world. I mean, the best way, like, the last weekend Senior Buns was used. It was like I've been calling it like it's like human shield shit at Senior Buns, where cops were baiting their location to people that were hunting them at Senior Buns. So when it gets that bad, where you're like, hey, these are civilian businesses, people are purchasing food here, and you're like, come and get me, and you're standing in the middle of a fucking food court, like something's cooked, and you can't fix that. You know what I mean?
It's like gang, even worse than gang shit, to be honest.
Sorry, man.
Like so my issue with the marshals, you can correct me if I'm wrong at any time. Uh, I was under the impression that they're supposed to be there to check the PD, to take care of corruption and any type of, punishment that needs to be handed out to make sure like civilian and PD relations are good.
Mm.
So they kind of came out of nowhere, and I was like, okay, so it's technically like a glorified HR department.
Mm-hmm.
And then looking at the roster, I see one specific individual that used to sell weed with us on La Puerta, and this individual was not she didn't have the best antics, and when I saw her on the roster, it kind of made me realize I'm like, so there's no background check, there's no professionalism. How is this person a marshal now from being a pusher on La Puerta? Because we used to literally push with her. So that kind of started getting me worried.
Oh,
and
you
then,
mean you mean DJ, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. So what's the due process on someone like that becoming a marshal?
Um,
If marshal is such a high.
I don't even think DJ, honestly, because she's a cop now. I don't even think DJ, like, I mean, because people turn their lives around, right? And
Yeah.
they get expunged, they're given an opportunity, and it's I think that's the less concerning bit. I think it's more the, like you said, it was a just in case force. It was kind of like IA. It was a force to prevent a July 3rd. And it's now sort of like they mass recruited mostly incompetent officers. To give you an example, the number 2 in the marshal force told people that it was illegal to read public documents that may have people's texts in them, which to anyone that's like grown up in a free country, no, that's not the case. It's like it's not illegal to look at a tweet. If there's a poster somewhere, it's not illegal to look at it. If there's a document on the ground and you open it up, it's like what was it, like that one book, like Ayn Rand or whatever? They were like banning books. It's like banning a book and saying it's illegal to read it.
Yeah.
It's
So I thought, so it's like a little group of friends, or like I don't know if it's friends or not. They just have these expensive gadgets. They wanna
and they're bored now, so they're
they
looking
wanna
for
show
trouble.
them. Okay.
That's the best way I
So
can explain it. Is I was concerned with this like 6-7 weeks ago, right? Maybe not 7 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, where I said, what happens? Because I started noticing they started hiring really quickly. I'm like, what's going to happen when they're bored? Because it's not like there can't be that much internal corruption, right? Like they did good work in the first 2 weeks, right? They were helping to, do the firings, and they took a lot of the credit from a lot of attorneys and cops when they fired a handful of them, right? And prosecuted them. But then very quickly afterwards, they started hiring a bunch of folks, and the simple thing that everyone asks themselves is what happens when they're bored, right? And I think now this is the product of it.
So
They're
what
now
is there
doing all
left
the
to do?
investigations. They're running the police department. They've usurped the power from the mayors. They've usurped the power of legislation. They're changing legislation on a whim and what's convenient. It's really, that's all it is. Now I will say that there is something that I'm trying to look into to try to resolve this, but what I can say is that it is not worth any sort of July 3rd, because that is what is desired. And I think the whatever you want to call today with this little tank exercise, they want it.
Yep.
They want people to pull their guns out. They want the violence so they can justify their existence. And I think rather the opposite needs to be done, which is, you know, speaking out against it with words, as, you know, it's the only real resolution. What are you gonna do? Fucking throw rocks at a tank? Like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What if they push it to the point where you can't solve it with just talking? Obviously, like unlike most other gangs, this might be surprising to you. I usually like to always take the diplomatic stance first. But what if that's like, what if we get to a point where we're past that?
I think there is no other resolution, right? Because I mean, the thing is, like, how do I put this? Then I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that you're never gonna, you know, violence has never really solved anything, and I think there's a lot of false impression as to what happened on July 3rd, right? I think a lot of people attribute it to, you know, a bunch of people storming the courthouse, but there was a lot more happening on the sidelines, both in terms of Soze exposing a bunch of things, and then me and my team exposing a bunch of things. There was a lot of other angles that were hitting it. And the reason I bring that up is there may have been a bit of a false impression that violence is what ultimately resulted in some of the changes that came out. But the reality is that, you know, you're dealing with a cop force that's got twice or three times as many numbers and 2 and 3 times the amount of, like, of firepower, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and so it's
I mean,
not
as
worth
is-
putting
as
your
of
life on the
now-
line for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as of now, it just doesn't seem like it's death, you know? Like we can't really, we're just gonna get ran over by tanks and shot missiles at us.
Well, they just blew up the emergency doors of the hospital.
What?
Yeah.
Was this like just recent? Like,
Search Chang on Twitter, and it's gonna be, yeah, you'll see it.
dude, that
What
was
the
that joke.
That was what
I
we
said,
heard.
Yeah, that wasn't a joke. That was actually.
And
yeah.
I've got what do we have? 2 or 3 doctors on our staff. One of them's been working in the hospital since this morning. She wasn't even told what happened. So
All right. Just probably an accident discharge, right? That could have killed a lot of civilians, or maybe probably killed a couple of civilians.
yeah, by a cadet, mind you. They got cadets riding these things for what?
cadets,
What?
right?
That does not make sense.
Yeah, it's
at all
PDs
whatsoever.
getting
What
trained
the
for
fuck?
this. For what though? Like, what is it for? You know what I mean? Like, unless there's like some mutant creatures that are supposed to be popping out of the sewers or something, and then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. This to me is such a gross escalation, with no real intent other than what I read as being like just inherently malicious. It's you know, it's
Well, they're literally anticipating all of this. Like yesterday, there was a cop that was pulling out, so I slowed down, and I was on the radio with AK, and she's like, "Please don't shoot me." Like, they know they're in the wrong for some shit.
Yeah, but it's a lot of it has been misinterpretation, and I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. Is of the crews that I spoke to yesterday, they spent 2.5 hours not only being reasonable, but pointing out where the grievance was, and the grievance ultimately came down to that cops antagonizing in a way that they know is going to cause a reaction, and effectively putting themselves in a position where they're going to die. They're putting their own life in the line to like get a reaction, right? And then when the reaction happens naturally, right? It's like going down to the Compton and like slapping a Crip in the face, right? What do you think's gonna happen? You're gonna get shot up, right? And so when that reaction happens and there's 20 cops down there and now someone's away for 1,300 months, $500,000 in fines, that cop that caused the reaction, nothing happens to them. They just get back on duty and they do it again. The second thing that was brought up was, you know, that they're seeing cops just roll in deep over a ping. As a lawyer, I can tell you that those cops rolling in, they have no way to prove who's selling what. There's no photographs. They don't know who it is. They're rolling in not because they know who's selling drugs, but because they're hoping that somebody runs and it turns into a shootout. I don't know if you know this, but anytime someone is arrested and they're processed, the PD gets paid 25%. So you get into a mass shootout with a shitload of cops. That, let's say, is $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. 25% of that is going into their budget that they're buying more tools with. Interceptors, Air One, etc., etc. So what do you call that at that stage? Oh, and look at that. Lo and behold, San Andreas Department of Justice has re-implemented the DEN Act. That's crazy. Call it discretionary time off. Fuck out of here.
The timing couldn't even wear to that.
That shit's always existed.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then when they say if you bring your lawyer down, you get more time off, but then they take you to 2 different fucking departments and make you play Chinese telephone. That one.
That's exactly it. Oh, that's, yeah. And trust me, I brought it up. Like, that's not a problem. I'm like, okay, so you're processing half the crew over here, half the crew over here. How are you lining up the stories? Right?
Yeah,
What if
that's-
one of those lawyers is representing both parties? Now what? Yeah.
That was the issue we had that one night. Whenever me and Chento got 150, you guys got 100, and they're like, the most I could do is drop it down from 180 to 150.
Yep.
Yeah, this shit's fucking upside down backwards, man.
Yeah.
And I wish the Marshals did what they were actually supposed to do and fix the bomb. It just seems like they're double downing and making it worse.
Yeah.
Probably
No,
worse than the last mayor, to be honest.
That's
this
been
point.
my conclusion. I think every Max, I had my issues with him, not as much as, you know, I know other people had significantly higher, like, more issues with him, but I the way I sort of look at it is that I think what people feared Max would ultimately become is what the Marshals became. And then multiply that by 2.
I also
So-
think they're trying to somehow like squeeze you out of your position too. So all
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish for you, brother, is like if you can hold it down for the people, man, hold it down
Mm.
as long as you can.
I'm gonna try. I mean, right now they're running my campaign for me. You know what I mean?
Directly.
Yeah.
Directly and indirectly, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Shit, okay. Well, I just wanted to touch bases with you, Nino.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know the Guerrillas side with you. That doesn't mean like anything crazy. You don't have to take that in any crazy way.
yeah.
But if you do need anything, give us a call if we can help.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
But I don't even think it's siding with us. It's just siding with common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with
I just
that.
don't want it
Yeah.
to seem like, hey, Nino has all these gangs doing all
Yeah,
this dirty
yeah,
work
yeah.
for it type shit, you know?
Mm.
No, I appreciate
I
that.
you know, I and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? People are people at the end of the day. And I think that's the biggest thing people a lot of the PDs forgetting, right? And
And it sounds like you have our best interest.
Hmm.
That's what I see right now from my POV. So hopefully that's the truth, and then we'll see what the future brings us.
I can, well, I can't promise that things are going to get better. I do stand by it, and I'm going to do what I can to try to make things better. You know, I've got some things up my sleeve, but, you know, it's a bit of a 50-50 shot at this point. So, and if you
'cause I
guys
already
need
been,
anything, do not hesitate to give me a call, you know?
Yeah, I already been talking to some people, and I feel like in the background there is some sort of movement where it's without getting too much in details,
Mm.
it's telling gangs to put the bullshit aside for a little bit and unite to
Mm.
figure out what's going on with the bigger problem.
Mm.
Which obviously will maybe result in some crazy shit at some point.
Mm.
But you and I both, I think we understand that that's probably not the best outcome
No.
for everyone.
I see the only way that that works out based on these Twitter photos that these bozos end up blowing each other up with those tanks.
They probably will.
Like that's there is that working for us. You know what I mean? Because you know, I don't know how
Yeah.
much competence is left. on, so, all right. Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's today. Like, I woke up to those swatter photos and I was like, what is the message here being sent? Selling wheat bags is gonna result in getting ran over by a fucking tank.
Yeah,
Is that what we're like
that's
picturing right now?
that's the very same conversation me and Michael were just having. But like, selling a little bit of dope, tanks in your backyard. Like, what the fuck?
That's a 0 to 100 real quick situation right
Oh,
there.
shit.
100%. I mean, at a certain point, it becomes less of a force and it's more of an occupation force. You know, like what are they trying to do? You know what I mean? But,
Hey, Nino, do you know if officers get commission on your fine?
indirectly,
Which is the 25% that you were talking about.
yeah, that goes into either the BCSO budget if you're processed up north, or the LSPD budget if you get processed down in the city. And
Okay.
then that may or may not be used for bonuses, but it's certainly used for equipment. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
That's been driven by cadets to fight the war on drugs. I got it.
Holy
Got
fuck.
the big picture.
It's crazy when you put it into words like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there's no lies detected.
Cadets in tanks fighting the war on drugs. That should be the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all know
Print
what's
it.
crazy is one bad fucking day from anyone, and they just take a tank and just go on a fucking rampage. And that's not even just a cadet. That could be like me, right?
Yeah.
I could go steal fucking tank and just start blowing up the other ones. I'm killing any cop that fucking gets in my way.
Yeah.
That's
No.
all it really takes, though, right? Is that tank getting into the wrong hand? Just that one instance?
You're not wrong, to be honest.
I mean,
You're
some
not
people
wrong.
might even argue they're already in the wrong hands.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I feel like everyone is arguing that right now, unless you got a badge.
hmm
Oh shit! It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Well, look, if you guys need anything, do not hesitate, and trust me, I wear it proud. Yeah, the gangs voted for me, as did the civilians. You know, and that's never, you know, I don't ever take that the wrong way. You know, I wear it with pride.
No, we appreciate that.
Mm.
And you know, we sell a lot of drugs. We sell mainly in Vespucci. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be straightforward with you. And
Yeah.
and I know, I am well aware of the fact that we have gotten away with a lot of shit down there. You know,
Mm.
and I'm not sitting here and saying, man, I don't want to get cops to come and fuck my shit up, but like, at least like, you know, come in like deep and do an operation. Don't just come in by yourself. Hey, what you doing down here, and get shot and then go cry about it and then like make a bigger sin about it, you know?
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of money being made on the streets, and there, for us at least in Vespucci, because of the environment that was built by down there, it is pretty low risk. I'm not gonna deny that,
Mm.
but don't go around and bait gangs to fucking come after you and just make it what it's not supposed to be, you know?
Mm. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is, and I think that's kind of the messaging. But you know, it requires the other side to not be deaf, and I think that's what's being dealt with, unfortunately.
So it's either we get drug response by one cop, or with a tank at this point. Nothing in between.
Yeah. It's and you know, that's kind of the biggest point of clarity that I had this morning is I genuinely have tried to bridge that gap, but you know, you always hear like the, you know, gangbangers never want to talk, they just want to shoot. And I witnessed in person a lot of them coming together and wanting to find some sort of resolution, and only one side putting their fingers in their ears. So I'm over that sort of delusion at this stage. It's just, you know, it's
Yeah, that speaks a lot, actually. The way, yeah, you're not wrong.
yeah. But all right.
Well, I guess time will tell, man. See what happens. We'll try to stay as optimistic as possible, but if shit hits the fan, we'll be there, man. And if it's a losing battle, we'd rather fight it
Yeah.
instead of flop, you know. So
I think that's what it's going to come down to be honest. We'll see. We'll give it a couple days. See what I can cook up. And, I mean, worst comes to worst. I mean, hey, I'd rather die trying than sit back and just get pressed against a wall all day.
yes, sir.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you
sir.
guys.
Appreciate you, man.
All right.
Take
You
care.
guys need anything? Let's link up whenever. I'd
Yeah.
rather do these meetings in person because, you know, these
More
stuff
personable.
nowadays are
Oh,
not the, you know.
you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, man. You guys
All
hold
right.
it down, and
Yeah.
then we'll link up if anything. Okay, guys? Thanks
Absolutely.
for
Okay,
the
guys.
talk.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You take care.
Keep
Oh,
doing
what
what you
the-
doing, big dog.
Where the fuck is fucking Pigeon, bro? We can use the Colombians right now.
Yeah, this way.
4 o'clock.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time. That's crazy.